If you have been looking to purchase a home and you haven't been successful as of late, don't feel bad. It is common that many folks are getting outbid for a lot of properties out there because the inventory is so scarce. But what if you had the opportunity to purchase a fixer-upper at a significant discount to the marketplace? Would you do it? Would you not do it? You hear a lot of stories out there. With some people, it's the best decision they've ever made. And you've got another group of people who said that it's the worst decision that they ever made. And there's very little in between from my experience. Brian here with Lamacchia Realty. And I have an article pulled up where it talks about some of the markets in particular that are good buys in terms of purchasing a fixer-upper as opposed to purchasing something that is move-in ready. So let's just jump right into it. So this is an article from Realtor magazine. Most consumers are considering purchasing a home that isn't move-in ready in order to save money. Here's where your clients have a shot at finding a diamond in the rough. With home prices surging and inventory scant, many buyers are beginning to accept that they may not find a move-in ready property. More than half of prospective home buyers say they'd consider purchasing a fixer-upper, whether it needs a small cosmetic lift or large structural updates, according to a new RE/MAX survey. Further, 80% say they may adjust their home buying plans in the next year, whether that means reconsidering the type of home they purchase, getting more creative with financing, such as borrowing money from family, or even co-buying with others, the survey shows. Affordability remains a key concern for home buyers as home prices, interest rates, and inventory continue to fluctuate, says RE/MAX President and CEO Nick Bailey. Despite today's economic environment, it's clear that home ownership is still a priority for many, and the results of our survey prove that buyers are willing to go outside their comfort zone to reach their goal. Absolutely, because there's just very few homes out there available for sale. And inventory, even though rates have come down a little bit and we were hoping it was going to unlock inventory is still down compared to where it was last year, and last year was down significantly compared to where it was the year before. Indeed, 73% of respondents surveyed indicated they'd consider purchasing a fixer-upper because of the potential for a lower listing price, the RE/MAX survey shows. A majority of respondents say they'd likely spend less than $70,000 on repairs and renovations. 10% say they'd be willing to spend up to $90,000. So this is interesting because of these numbers. So people are anticipating they're going to spend between $70,000 and $90,000. This varies wildly based off of where you live. So I am in the Boston market, and here in Boston, $70,000 to $90,000 will get you, maybe it might remodel 2 bathrooms, but it's certainly not enough to get you a new kitchen and no structural work whatsoever. So maybe a new roof. So it gets you 2 bathrooms and a new roof. So if that's all it needs, great. But if it needs more than that, then you're going to be looking at spending significantly more than what this is anticipating. A fixer-upper can be significantly cheaper to buy than a move-in ready home, but buyers need to budget for the cost of renovations. Real estate professionals can show their value by helping clients choose projects based on potential ROI. Absolutely. There are some things that, if you need to lift the house and replace the sill plate that, the house sits on, where it mates with the foundation, that's going to be very expensive. So I would not recommend doing something like that. But there are other things that you can do that are relatively inexpensive that have a much better ROI. Where to find a fixer-upper? Front Door, a home repair and maintenance resource, recently identified the best markets to find fixer-uppers at the lowest cost and resell them for a premium after renovation. Front Door scoured listings identified as, quote, renovated or fixer-upper and ranked cities based on the difference in average price between the two. The study finds that the city with the most fixer-uppers available is New Orleans. 9% of homes listed in New Orleans are labeled as fixer-uppers. They cost about 45% less than the homes that aren't listed as fixer-uppers, the study notes. So that's interesting. So that is a significant discount to the marketplace. And again, here in Boston, you are not seeing that at all. Cities with an older housing stock, such as Cleveland, tend to have more homes in need of rehabilitation, the study finds. In Cleveland, the typical home is 84 years old, nearly twice the national median. Therefore, fixer-uppers comprise a higher percentage of listings there. The Front Door study identifies the following locations as having the most fixer-uppers on the market. Number 1, New Orleans. Second is Albany, New York. That's interesting. I have 2 kids in college out in Troy, so maybe we'll go buy a place in Albany. Cleveland, Memphis, Tennessee, Newark, New Jersey, Anchorage, Alaska, Aurora, Colorado, Dover, Delaware, Detroit, and Milwaukee. So something that jumps off the page for me when looking at this list of top 10 is these are definitely not affluent areas. They are kind of mid-tier markets, some even like, I'll say lower than that, like toward the bottom of that mid-tier market. So that explains why there are so many fixer-uppers in that market. And I think this might be a little biased because it's like, okay, well, you're selling it for a significant discount to the marketplace, but then in addition to that, there's not a huge demand for people moving to these markets. You don't see like a Raleigh, North Carolina, or a Nashville, Tennessee, or Denver, Colorado. You don't see any of those on this list because those are areas that are much more desirable for people to move to. So this was interesting. So this is the graph, and you can see right off the bat, again, it's a lot of places that people aren't necessarily wanting to go to, and it's places where people just don't have the money to properly maintain their property. So Pittsburgh is up there, Cleveland, Baltimore, Maryland, Miami, Florida surprises me, but that's only 16, it's like 17% below, so it's not a significant discount to the marketplace. And then New York is actually on the positive side. You're paying about a 20% premium for that fixer-upper, and I suspect in Boston that it's probably even more than that. It might be like 30%. The highest one I think they had was Honolulu, right, in Hawaii for 70%. So you're paying a 70% premium. So what that means is that if you have $1 million home, if it's a fixer-upper, you might pay like $950,000. It's a very, very insignificant amount that you're paying, that you're getting discounted on that property because it is a fixer-upper. So in addition to that, you're probably not going to find many fixer-uppers in Honolulu. Same thing in New York, and honestly in Boston as well. Although you do see them because it has older housing stock. What do you think about all this? Are you considering a fixer-upper? I mean, I've seen it go both ways. I've seen some people get into a fixer-upper and then actually get into it and realize like, oh boy, I've budgeted, let's say $100,000 for this remodel, and it's going to cost $200,000 to $250,000. I've seen other people get into homes that have been recently remodeled, right? Someone goes in there and flips the house, and then once they move in, it's like, oh my God, this house needs hundreds of thousands of dollars in repairs because the person who did the remodel didn't spend the money on any significant improvements like to the structure. Then instead they just spent it on all superficial type stuff like a coat of paint and maybe some tile in the bathroom. But structurally, the house might still have issues with the foundation. It might have issues with the roof. It might have issues with water in the basement. Who knows? The list goes on and on. So I think there's a smart way to do a fixer-upper and a not so smart way to do a fixer-upper. If you are considering a fixer-upper, you 100% of the time have to have that home inspected. That inspector will go in and they'll do a deep dive on the property and make sure that it doesn't have any like real major structural issues. If you're in a competitive situation and you get the sense that, that particular offer isn't going to be accepted with the home inspection contingency, then I would recommend that you walk away. That inspection is hugely important because in the event that there is something structurally wrong with the home that you're not aware of, and then you move in, there is zero recourse, at least here in the state of Massachusetts. This is a caveat emptor, which stands for buyer beware. So it is a buyer beware state. If you buy it, you have to do all of your due diligence before you move into the property. Once you've purchased the property and you moved in, that's it. The only caveat is if you have asked a specific question of the seller and the seller has not been truthful with you. In that case, then you do have an argument. And that's why it's important to have a buyer's agent that you feel comfortable working with that is asking those questions of the seller, because in the event that you don't ask them, then again, you don't have a leg to stand on. So it's really important. Anyways, I digress. Fixer-upper, you gonna buy one? You're not gonna buy one? Let me know. Are you in some of these markets that it is very attractive to buy the fixer-upper, or are you stuck in a market like a Boston, New York, Washington, D.C., where the discount might be 10% of the purchase price compared to like 50% that you're seeing in some of these other markets? Let me know down in the comments. That's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.